Brownell is also an author of over a dozen books, both fiction and nonfiction, including Five Reasons Why Bad Things Happen, The Hero's Playbook. I'm really interested in that one. The We Meet Again trilogy, A Love Story to the Universe, and more. So, my first question is, what is the science of wishing?
It's fascinating, and it's something that I want to kind of give the whole framework so that listeners understand who I am and where I came from and like how all this kind of came to be, because I'm not a scientist. So I want to set that up from the beginning. This all kind of occurred when I was writing my most recent novel called A Love Story to the Universe. And I decided to write this kind of magical world, I call it upstairs, and where wishes are gathered and sorted and granted, and how wishing works from the level of what I call the upstairs. So it's kind of a magical realism, kind of story. And as I was writing it, I had to define, like, if you know about any fiction writers, we have to define the world building, right? And so, like, I had to think, well, what is a wish and how are wishes processed and how does all that work? And then being a little bit of a science geek on the side, one night while I was writing that, or right after, I was listening to a science lecture and on neuroplasticity. And I was thinking, wait a minute, is there science in wishing? It just started this kind of quest to figure out, is there science in wishing? And it turned into like this game of science whack-a-mole. It's like, yes, anthropology, sociology, psychology, quantum physics, like all of these sciences. And so I just started researching and just got fascinated by the whole concept of, and I had to define, what is a wish? What is the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal? How do wishes work? Ended up with quoting over 70 different scientists. So I
Oh,
always say, if somebody's listening and they know more about science than I do, bring it on. Like, I want to learn more, right? I want to make it better. I do like the fact that, because my perspective, I could quote a lot of scientists and look at it from a lot of points of view, as opposed to if I was like just a neuroscientist, then I would only kind of have that perspective. And now I can look at it from like every possible angle. But that's led, I mean, there's over every time you make a wish, you engage over a dozen different sciences. I mean, it's
mhm.
mind blowing. So that's led to the book.